theft. Stealing a thing leaves one less left. Copying it makes one thing more. That's what copying's for. Copying is not theft. If I copy yours, you have it too. One for me and one for you. That's what copies can do. If I steal your bicycle, you have to take the bus. But if I just copy it, there's one for each of us. Making more of a thing, that is what we call copying. Sharing ideas with everyone, that's why copying is fun.
5 years ago, I sat up here on a panel and then gave a speech in this very room, and on a screen in the back, this film was playing. And as I watched this film, I had a thought, humbling, depressing thought, which was that there was more captured in understanding what this film represented than in all the words that were being uttered, certainly by me and by many of the other people who are up on the stage defending in the copy fight. Because the capability for cultural meaning, the capability for understanding, which this displays, is something new we have to understand and protect. And yet, we haven't yet begun the debate to get governments to the place where they understand why this creativity is important. So we need to teach them. We need to teach them we can't kill this creativity. We can only criminalize it. We can't stop our kids from being creative in ways that those of us from the 20th century never were. We can only drive their creativity underground. We can't make them passive. We can only make them pirates. And the question we have to ask is that good? I come from a culture where kids live in this constant age of prohibitions. All sorts of things, normal things they try to do, are against the law, so they live their life constantly against the law. But that way of living is corrosive and corrupting of the rule of law in a democracy.
My film is called Sita Sings the Blues. It is a musical, personal, animated interpretation of the Ramayana, which is an ancient Indian epic, with American jazz and blues music from the 1920s, sung by Annette Hanshaw. And it's the greatest breakup story ever told. I moved to India, to Trivandrum, in 2002 following my then husband, and I read my very first Ramayana there in the form of a comic book. And after 3 months I went to New York on a business trip, and my husband dumped me by email. And the Ramayana, it's a big story, it's an epic, it's about lots of things, but the part of the story that struck me was Sita, who's Rama's wife, and all the suffering that she does for her unconditional love for him. She just can't let go of him. And this is a virtue in the story. Anyway, after my husband dumped me by email, I didn't want to let go of him either. And I would have really been hating myself had I not had the Ramayana to read, or different versions of the Ramayana to read. So I read as many versions as I possibly could at that point. And I heard Annette Hanshaw for the first time, staying on somebody's sofa in New York. Her songs, I felt were about exactly the same thing. All about my man done me wrong, I love my man so much, why is my man rejecting me? Boo-hoo, I'm crying over my man.
The targets are simple. We want to have hair and fur editing. I mean, everybody has seen all the Hollywood movies with the furry animals doing all kinds of crazy things. I mean, maybe you don't want to see those movies anymore, but for animators it is cool to make it. It is really fun to have funny, cartoonish, furry animals, comb them, make them looking really good, and make movies with them. We need that technology in open source. Other things is, for example, complexity with grass, leaves, and forests. This is for a 3D developer an incredible complicated task to edit it and to control it. And lastly, of course, you need character animation to be able to have a convincing cartoon animation. The other project is the Apricot Open Game project. That started just last week, previous week. It's also 6 people, 6 months. It's supported by a couple of Dutch organizations and by a French consortium of companies. And this time we are going to make a game. The target is again proof that you can use the open source software in the pipeline, in the studio, to have a really good looking, professional, high quality game. The use, of course, is much wider. It's not only the fact that we deliver a game, it is again open content, so it delivers lots of opportunities for people to write books about, to base training on it, and education. There are more projects scheduled. At the moment I'm working on Durian, which is going to be supported by a 4K cinema technology consortium. They need 4K cinema technology, but they also need freely licensed content for them to show. So we can make a movie which is totally ridiculously adolescent, with monsters, battles, explosions, whatever you can think of, which is fun, no story, make it, it is financed, and release it for free. Of the last project, the fruit has to be picked. I want to do a film visual effect project too. It's important for Blender users that we have a good pipeline working for traditional filmmaking, like motion tracking, but also compositing and color grading.
The music I used was from like 1928, and it was supposed to be in the public domain. It was supposed to enter the public domain after 28 years, I think. Renewable for another 28 years. But then Congress started extending copyrights retroactively. So the songs I was using will probably never be in the public domain, which means that you're not allowed to use them, build on them, sing them, really. You're not allowed to sing these songs. People said, oh, well, but, you know, you're complaining about copyright, but copyright's what protects you. You shouldn't complain about it. It's good for you. And that made me look at what copyright was doing for me when I'd never really looked at it before.
So how would you describe the purpose of copyright? Like, what exactly does it do? What's it for?
What's the purpose of copyright?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's okay. I mean, that's if you don't know, that's the answer, right?
To protect the artists or authors.
Can you speak up?
Just to protect the author's intentions and what he intends to write.
It is to protect the financial interests of someone who came up with an idea.
So nobody else steals what somebody originally created?
I would say that the purpose of copyright is to make sure that works created are not used illegally. Like if someone comes up with an original idea or thought or some sort of original work, then they should get credit for it, always.
I would say that copyright is mainly so people don't try and take other people's ideas.
I guess my opinion on that is it's supposed to protect the person who's invented or who's come up with a basic idea. So copyright is supposed to basically give them, I guess, premise or ownership of it, the actual idea or invention or whatever it is, basically.
To make sure that someone can't take what's yours and that you brought of yourself. And basically for someone not to take something that you worked for.
To protect someone's work. Against, I think, well, mostly it seems for profit, but also for artistic integrity.
Copyright is the right of the person who, actually I have to think about it, the right of the person who created the copy to benefit from it and protect them?
Basically, I think it's to protect, publish, publish works, and whether music, books, or plays, whatever, so I think that's the purpose of it.
I guess copyright's supposed to provide a limited monopoly on a specific expression of ideas to encourage creativity, so that, someone is, in the short term, has an incentive to create something.
To protect people's property, written and otherwise.
In my vision, it's mostly like for protection from the, artist point of view.
Okay, and when you say protect, you have in mind protection from some danger. What danger would that be, or dangers?
Yeah, protection from somebody else, maybe getting a hold of their idea and claiming it as their own. Or protection from, I guess like why the word copyright exists, so that you have basically I guess protection is the best word to use,
Or claiming that it was theirs and using it to make money off of it.
Well, the danger of other people using it without the original person getting any credit.
Anyone actually taking your, I won't say idea, but your exact writing or published, feature, whatever.
Okay.
And I did, and I read, and I also thought about Annette Hanshaw's songs and how obscure they are.